So hi, everybody. Welcome to another Monday meetup. And this evening, we are probably going to have a big roundabout chat about all things to do with online practice. We'll just start off with an introduction of everybody here, and then we'll go ahead and just dive in. Hey, Carrie. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to toss it over to Julie first to say hello and introduce herself. And maybe this is a good time to practice our 30-second elevator speeches. What do you think? No pressure putting you on the spot.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie. I currently work as a online kin / personal trainer, and I just have I have another job as a physio assistant. I am based out of St. Catharines, recent graduate from the MPK program at Brock, and it's not a great elevator pitch, but that's me.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. What do you like about your PTA position so far today?
Today was a lot of shadowing, so I didn't like much. I like people, but
that part got a big check mark.
it was just the first week or couple days of any job is a lot of shadowing, especially in a clinic role. So
yeah, that totally
it'll get better.
Makes sense. All right, over to you, Jillian in St. Thomas. Do you want to say hello?
I'm Jillian. I'm from St. Thomas. I currently work as a kin at LifeMark, and I run the return to work program there.
Oh, cool. So are you doing work conditioning, work hardening, FCE, PDAs? Yep. Cool. That's pretty good. That's a lot of responsibilities for a whole bunch of different products, so to speak, that you can offer. It's great. It's really great. And how long have you been there?
It's just over a year now.
Oh, cool. That's great. All right, Deanna, you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm in Huntsville, Ontario. I've been a kin for a long time, and I am a mobile kinesiologist. I am Rex, or I do everything. I do in-home exercises. I run a cancer program, osteoporosis program, pain program. I might do some COPD work and some ergonomics for Agilic and Bayshore, just to keep my feet in the door with that and make some more money.
You don't have your feet in enough doors.
It's a small town up here, small area, so if I don't want to travel for work, I like to kind of have to
put it all together.
All areas, yeah.
So it's really interesting. So you're working as a consultant to these various roles, and then also under your own business umbrella?
Yeah, sort of. I think like Bayshore and Agilic do the function, like they do functional work capacity assessments for mostly WSIB contracts. Mm-hmm. And WSIB just gives it 1 month or 1 week goes to Agilic and the next one goes to Bayshore. So I'm not, or to another.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure. It's rather interesting because it's the same work.
Right.
Distribute it to different
brokers almost.
But a lot of us are employed by both. And I don't know if it's employed by, contracted through, subcontracted, I guess.
Right.
And there are flat fees for the assessments and job coaching. So that's kind of interesting. But I like having the clinical background that I have along with the ergonomics to do a bit of both. And yeah, the other stuff is kind of contract work for different groups.
Oh, cool.
It works.
Yeah. Nice. I had a good conversation with someone from Agilic today. I was looking for a grant for training. So they're in charge of administering the Canada Ontario Job Grant Program. So if you are looking to train someone, like if you are working with consultants or you've hired someone full or part-time, you can, if you hit all the benchmarks, you can get a loan for, you can get a grant for training your crew. So I'm looking into how I can access some funds to do that. So the big
idea.
Yeah. Katie, over to you. Hello.
Hi. So my name is Katie. I also own a mobile kinesiology business called Achieving Motion. I'm in Brantford. I work with older adults and those with neurological conditions, using exercises that challenge both cognitive and physical abilities to improve their balance and independence.
Full marks on that elevator pitch. That
Yeah,
was
good. I've been working on it.
done. Nicely done. That's great. That was really good. That's really good. So you're working for on your own business as your own business.
Yes.
Are you consulting to any companies, or do you work privately with clients one-on-one?
Right now, I'm just working privately with clients one-on-one. My business is only part-time at this point. It's kind of a newer thing. So then I also work part-time for an organization called Safe Zone, teaching group exercise classes, falls prevention exercise classes for seniors. So we are hoping to get back to in-person sooner or later, but right now we're just doing virtual.
Nice, nice, nice. Which does work okay when you're working with falls prevention. You find it's okay with setting everyone up in a safe spot to do the falls prevention exercises?
Yeah, so far so good. We actually just started teaching virtually in February. So it's only been a month. So it's still a bit of a learning curve for all of us instructors. But so far so good. Everyone seems to be, all the participants seem to be enjoying it. So they're happy to be back.
That's good. That's great. All right, Christiane.
Oh man, I gotta follow her.
No pressure at all.
So yeah, my name's Christiane. I've been a kinesiologist for a couple of years. I work in a long-term care home as a kinesiologist, really working on the falls prevention program and working collaboratively with like nursing and physio and OT to try and like reduce our falls, reduce our risk of falls. And then on the side, I am working on a business to educate seniors on their health and how exercise can help them increase their independence.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Glad to hear that's working out. That's fantastic. Katie, or sorry, Katie. Carrie. Sorry, Katie. You don't have to say your elevator speech.
I was going to say, don't make me twice.
Yes. Your
Well, actually, me and Katie are actually quite similar. Me and her have chatted a little bit. So I'm Carrie. I own a business called Carriedale Kinesiology. I'm based in Kitchener-Waterloo. And similar to Katie, I work with people one-on-one, mobile, going into their homes for exercise therapy, active therapy. And I work with clients who have had stroke or other neurological issues, as well as seniors, and fascial stretch therapy as well.
Nice. That's great. And did you do a particular course to study fascial stretch therapy, or did you pull together a number of different trainings?
So fascial stretch therapy is its own course. It's put on by Stretch to Win. It's a physiotherapist in the States. So they have one location in Canada, or one company, I guess I should say, in Canada that does the courses. It's DTS in Toronto, Kevin Darby. So they do that. Yeah.
Cool. I thought that was the story. I wasn't quite sure what Kevin Darby's still up to. He's always coming up with interesting things.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, that's for sure.
Catherine, hello.
Hi. Yeah, so my name's Catherine. I just recently became registered in like January, I think. I wrote the exam in September. So I'm working right now at a physio clinic in Sarnia as a kin. So I help out with the GLAD program. I see some patients one-on-one, and I also just help some physios with basically an extra set of hands with patients in wheelchairs and things like that. So yeah.
Good, that's good. So you're doing everything at the clinic in Sarnia, or do you have other sites that you're visiting?
I just recently started teaching also like a similar kind of virtual fall prevention class for John Bhakti out of his like Connected Chain clinic in Markham. Yeah. That just started like last week, so seeing how that goes.
That's great.
Yeah.
See, the network is working.
It definitely is, for sure.
So we're noticing 3 of you teaching falls prevention classes. Pretty interesting, right? There's definitely a need there then in the community for falls prevention, and kins are ideally suited for that. So that's great. Very interesting. What's your favorite exercise to teach for falls prevention?
The organization that I work for, I think we have 7 different instructors, and between all of us, like all participants know that like squats or sit to stands, they better come to class expecting those. And a lot of them.
For sure. Oh my gosh,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like half my job in the long-term care is like, can the person stand up from a chair? How many PSWs do they need to get up from the chair? So I'm always like telling the independent ones, is like, listen, you got to work on this because you don't want to need a PSW just to go to the bathroom. Like, you got to work on it.
Yeah, yeah, you can do this. You can do this. I do this little sequence in my class that I teach a couple times a week, and we do, I call them ski jumpers, where people are standing and they tip forward toward their toes and they can't allow their heels to come off the floor. And they go as far as they can and then they come back. So we do that one. And then we do one where they fall forward and try and hang on, try and hang on, try and hang on. And then they have to bring their hands up to a wall super quickly just to work on that reflex. And then the next one they do is they fall forward as slowly as they can, trying to hang on. And then they step forward into like a lunge step as big as they can. And I'm watching for that, the hands to come out. So it works out nicely because they're working on that startle reflex. Because I notice so many people when they fall, they're like, my hands didn't even come up. Or I've seen people fall. I'm like, where were your hands? They're like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, there's no startle reflex. There's no reflex to catch people on the way to the ground. So it's a series.
And I've taught a course on like how to fall safely. And it's just that idea of like, do you not like try not to land on like your wrist, but try to land on like your forearms. And I even go into the whole like ground reaction forces and biomechanics and like trying to like simplify it. But like, I think they understand like this is why it helps. So that's been an interesting thing. And it's actually quite popular, has become quite popular, popular topic.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so you're actually helping them to practice falling. Do they fall toward a wall or fall from their knees?
Right now it's just like a lecture. It's just like a lecture. Like I've pre-recorded like me doing the falls and me like falling properly, getting up after a fall. So because it's become rather popular, I'm trying to see if like there's other things that I can do with it. So it just because it's kind of difficult to do it online because I don't want people like practicing falling. It's not making, so I want to make sure they're being safe. So
right. Of course. One of the things we also practice is teaching people how to get up from the floor. And yeah, so that gets tricky. Yeah, can they get down to the floor? Okay, and now can you lie flat and can you bring yourself all the way back up to a stand? So it gets pretty interesting. They're like, I'm not going down to the floor. Well, you are. But, we can work toward that, but you are, because you need to be able to get yourself back up onto your feet if you do happen to trip and fall. So yeah, good times. So we were getting together this evening to chat, and we don't have to stick to any particular agenda. We can go right and left as we just did, about anything to do with bringing your practice online. And that's why I was going a little deeper with each of you to find out how many of you are actually teaching classes online. And then another follow-up question would be, how many of you are using shared record keeping that has a virtual component to it? Do all of you keep your own notes, or are you sharing notes with other clinicians? How does that work for you? You all have your own notes?
So for me right now, it's just me. So all I do is I handwrite all of my notes, but eventually I'd like to have another kinesiologist working with me and being able to more easily do notes on the fly, where it's a little bit cumbersome to bring all my handwritten notes with me to every client that I go to, especially if I'm going to a retirement home where I see 4 or 5 people in a row. I don't want to have like this big stack of files. I'd rather just have like my iPad or something that I could just go click, 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 and there my notes are done.
Yeah. That's what I ended up migrating from, was the paper charts to the iPad. and using just password protected iPad, password protected notes on the iPad, and then shifting to record keeping software from there. So it was kind of a slow evolution from there. So maybe someone else can mention what are some of the other ways that you're keeping notes, whether you're working for a clinic and what their procedure is, or whether you've decided kind of your own method of keeping notes. What does that look like?
So for me, I guess like my role is a little different with the community seniors because they use an app. It's called Alaya Care. It's really expensive. I looked into it, but it's more like for like PSW work. But basically, they ended up creating just like a form for me, or I guess like the kinesiologist, to input their information. So at this point, when I'm doing my online sessions, I type up my notes on like a Word document, just so that I have like my own access, because once I put it in their system, I can't really retrieve that information if I ever need to. So that it's just helpful so that like if somebody's like a repeat, if they didn't put it in the app properly, I don't get to see my previous notes. So I just found it easier. It's like, okay, I'll have like a Word document with my notes, but then it's also in their system. So that's kind of how I've been doing it.
Okay, so it's like almost like a copy paste into their system and then submitting it through their system. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just because based on like my access, like they have to be very specific that they have scheduled like that person and for that particular time slot. And if that didn't happen, I don't get to see like my previous notes, and even like the previous notes, it only has like the last note. So I like having like the Word document because then I can kind of see everything.
yeah. It's unfortunate that you can't go back and just call up everything to do with kinesiology and look up how your client has progressed with you, or say call up the client and see all the different practitioners day to day and how that person is progressing as well. That's too bad.
I think I probably, I guess like if I get like manager level access, I can probably do that. But because again, like the system's kind of made for like PSWs who are just going in home and just marking down everything that they did. So there's not really a need for the practitioners to be going back into their notes. So I'm guessing that's why that system is that way. So
okay. Interesting. Anyone else have any versions of note taking they want to share? Not particularly. So we can take notes with clients just by having a very simple paper document that just has exercises listed, date, and then check marks with comments that you could write in as you need. You don't have to write comments in for your clients every single day, but I would suggest every 2 to 3 sessions you do some sort of comments about how things are going if there's no other changes. And then just making sure that your notes are signed, are dated, and of course are confidential as well. So everything, if you're online, would need some sort of password protected portal that you can easily access on your own, that would be difficult for other people to also access.
Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll after.
Sorry. I was just gonna ask, like, if it's virtual, like, how do you sign it?
So that's tricky. So it's something where most of the charting software that I've seen, because you create the client file, it's kind of determined that it's your property, that you are managing it yourself. And so what some people do is they actually just do like a cut and paste signature.
Like a virtual, like an electronic one that's just like if you type in your name or something that comes up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of them have like almost like a DocuSign or HelloSign or e-signature option that you can enter. Mm-hmm. And other ones you would have to actually cut and paste your initials in. So it just depends on the program you're using. Yeah.
Cool.
So my other little side job, because I don't have enough, is I actually do the assessments, peer assessments for the college as well.
Oh, yeah. So what do you notice there?
We didn't do any last year.
Oh.
They are, and I'm waiting to find out because they're only virtual this year. I don't know, when we did them before and people had electronic files, they wanted them, like when I went into the training, they wanted me to print one.
Oh.
Bring it. Now that was painful because if you have an electronic file, it was almost like one per page, right? Like it wasn't, you have your page of notes that you handwrite, which I do. You can fit how many days on one sheet of page, but when they were electronic, it was a bit of a pain. So it would be actually, when we do get the training, it'd be probably a good thing to have on a Monday night discussion on the peer assessments, because they will be doing them this spring, I believe.
Oh, I see. Right.
So anybody who hasn't done their college, the what's that thing that's painful that we have to do every year?
Oh, the self-assessment.
Self-assessment. If you don't do that, it's flagged.
Yeah.
If you're new, you're kind of a flag.
Right.
Partly because they just want to give you the education and knowledge of what you need to do with your notes and keep them. So if you just sign your initials, somewhere it has to say, what do your initials mean? So your full name has to be somewhere. If you're going to just do initials, always has to have RKIN. Always have to have an individual number. Birth date isn't enough when you have a file number.
Oh, your client has to have a file number in addition to their birth date. Oh, that's
Because
interesting.
somebody could have the same birth date and same name.
Right. So there's another
Are slim, very slim. Well, it depends on where you live. But yeah, so I think they really do like the number. Now it's been, like I said, it's been a year since I've done them. We get a good recap from the college soon. But they are going to do virtual assessments, so I'm not sure how they're going to do the actual file check. That's one of them, right? And with all the online different types of filing systems we have now, it might be more challenging for us to view them. And it's not that we were reading them to know about
client care.
Yeah, and assessing how you do it as a kin. It's more, is the information there? So don't cross anything out. Right? If you cross it out, you have to be able to read it. You can put one line through it, but if you put one line through it, you have to say why, when, and sign it.
Yeah.
Which is a pain in the butt. It's not enough room for that when you do that. But anyway, those are some of the things. But if I find out what and how we'll be reviewing charts, it might be an interesting thing to talk about because.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. There is a checklist on the CKO website that you can go teach about it in our art course. Yeah, we teach about following those as just the high level things to look for, to consider when you're doing it.
The challenge will be with all the new virtual online charting platforms.
Yeah, that's right.
How can that be shared? Because when you don't, how can it be shared with the assessor as well?
Right. Yeah. There may be the need for login information, which is challenging because then you'd have to go right back in and change
it. Or maybe just screen sharing.
Yeah, that's an idea. If it's virtual, you could screen share. Sure.
I'm hoping maybe that'll be a way to do it, that you can just screen share and you can just make sure the information's there somehow. That you charted it properly.
That's right. And then another question for you then is, in our consent forms, do we mention that a client's chart could be audited by the professional college?
That's a good question to ask them.
Because I don't have that in our consent forms, and it hasn't come up in any of the college guidelines that I've seen.
You might have to actually just get their consent when the time comes.
Yeah.
Right, and we used to have to pull like a few of them. And we picked and choose out of the pile that they pulled, but that's not. I don't know if they'll do that this time around or not.
Right.
That's scary assessments if you ever have to go through one. Just saying.
No, yeah, Monica, that's one of our instructors. She had to go through one, and they filmed it. It's on the college website, which is really fun, and it is meant to be teachable. It's not meant to be anything punitive. It is meant to be collegial and instructive. So it's nothing, yeah, it's nothing to be worried about. I think it's also good for the college to see where some of the problems that we're having could be. So just like what you said, Deanna, with any issues that come up with online charting, online record keeping, what are some of the instructions that the college needs to give to kinesiologists to make sure that all of our bases are covered? So it helps them to form their guidelines as well. That's how they'd find out what they needed to do. So yeah, I'll check into that, whether or not we need to include it in our consent forms, that it, you know, upon a college audit, we would be required to share chart information, or do we not mention anything at the outset, but go to the client afterward if their chart, that would make more sense. If in the rare occasion you were to get audited amongst the 4,000 members that we have, or is it 3,000 members that we have? If you're if your name got chosen and a certain client got chosen, then you'd have to go back to the client to explain that their information would be examined by the college. Interesting. So most people then are in the handwriting to some sort of record keeping software exploration stage, whether or not it's dictated by the clinic that you're working with, or you're just kind of looking around on your own and experimenting a bit. So there's a few options. I used to work with a couple of large clinics. One clinic back in the day, that was before record keeping online was a thing. So it was all access, and we had shared charts for anyone working with the client. So you could see the physiotherapist notes and then the massage therapist notes, and you put your notes so you could easily look back to see what had happened in previous treatment sessions and with their symptom changes. And then I know from another clinic that I worked with, they were using Clinic Master, and then they moved to the Jane app, and now they've just moved to Embodiment because there were concerns about being PHIPA compliant, and then also just ease of use. The software's just come a long way, and they're just enjoying the robustness of the Embodiment platform plus the PHIPA compliant Zoom option for virtual clients. It's built in to that.
Is there charting in Embodiment?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
I thought there was.
I don't think so.
No?
I haven't found that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, as
So
far as I know, they don't. I have Embodiment, but they have like the home exercise portion. You can kind of track that, but as far as I know, there's no option to like do a chart.
So
Yeah.
you'd have to have two systems still.
you
And
still
I
have
use
to.
Jane and Embodiment.
Oh wow. Okay. So you'd
Which
have
is
to
what
do.
I like. That's why I was wondering which ones to like, what even to try next, because I have Embodiment, but I don't like its search engine. It's next
Yeah,
one. It's fine.
challenging to use.
I
I
really
use it for
liked
the Zoom.
back before when I first started, HexFit was actually pretty good. It's just a bit pricey for somebody who's starting out, because I think they have this thing where again back then it was like $25 if you wanted their exercise library, $25 for charting. So at the end it becomes like $50. So it was like quite pricey, but one of the positives was that if there was a particular exercise that you wanted, it wasn't in the library, if you send a request within 24 hours, I think they actually create it, and then that actually ends up staying in the library. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You put your own exercises in it?
Yeah, so you can either put your own in, or if you want it to look like the HexFit exercises, you basically just send them like a video, pictures, whatever, and be like, hey, can you turn this into the exercises? And I think within 24 hours, they'll have it done.
Mm-hmm. They
Yeah,
work
so it
with
was good. It was good. It's just pricey, but it also doesn't have the Zoom, which I'm hoping that they maybe do. Obviously, again, this was a couple of years ago, so maybe they're gonna start doing it now.
Mhm. It's tough, isn't it? Because you need all of these things. You need the PHIPAA compliant Zoom, which is expensive if you're outside of their non-PHIPAA compliant Zoom. To move to that is expensive. So that's why a lot of people go with Embodya, because they struck a deal for all their members. And then in Embodya, you can't do group classes with Zoom. So you can only have one-on-one with Zoom, I discovered, because I was looking for group.
I think you can, but you pay more.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
looking at
sorry.
10, but like if you just need one-on-one, I think it's $15 a month. If you need group, it goes up to $45 a month.
45. Maybe that's why I thought, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay.
The group ones. Who uses group? What do you use for group ones?
At the moment, I just use Zoom. Yeah. So I have to change that because it's not PHIPAA compliant. So I either have to purchase the PHIPAA compliant license, which is very expensive, or I have to purchase the Embodya version.
Yeah, I went with regular Zoom too to see.
Yeah. Technically, we're not supposed to be using
For
it
groups too.
for groups, for one-on-one and for groups, because it's
I mean, I get for one-on-ones because you talk
Yeah.
a whole bunch more, but in a group you don't really.
Yeah, but I think to protect client identification, you can keep PHIPAA
So who
compliant.
else offers group ones?
That's exactly what I'm looking at right now, is to say, is the option a $45 Embodya license every month, or looking at some other option? Because if Embodya doesn't have the client record management, then you're doing record management either in Health Locator. I'm working with Health Locator to see if we can put in some client management software in there. And then the other thing is trying to see what other options there are. So does Jane app have the option for, no, for P?
Not group. I don't think it has group.
Okay.
I don't think.
Yeah.
There's
So
some.
that's a question then, is do we need the PHIPAA compliant to be doing group classes, or is that just for one-on-one and we're okay not to have PHIPAA compliant for group? So I will ask.
Tried to call the college and ask a question and never got an answer. Never got anybody to call me back.
It's best to email. Yeah. PHIPAA. Okay, I'll ask about that one.
And I mean, some say Zoom is compliant, but I guess not. Is Blue Jeans is another one, but I mean, how many different platforms can you use? And most people know Zoom now.
Yeah.
And it's like simple.
I know.
I find that like my workplace, sometimes they'll use Microsoft Teams, and that's just kind of annoying because they have to have a login, and Zoom is just a lot easier.
Yeah, I tried GoToMeetings, I think, once, because that's what Agilic used.
Right.
So if you wanted to do, I did an Office Ergo online, but there was 3 or 4 of us involved because the return to work specialist was there. So there was more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they use GoToMeetings. I just don't know if it works as well or not. And I did look at the pricing, it wasn't much different.
Okay, it's about the same.
I didn't see a huge change. I could look again, but I know I was in there looking.
Mm-hmm. And does anyone use Google Meet for any meetings at all?
Is it compliant?
I don't know. I haven't looked to see yet. I'm a bit leery of anything to do with Google.
I remember my sister, when she was in school, it was just kind of a pain to do Google Meets, like with her teachers. So imagine it's not super user friendly, especially like for my population, like senior friendly. I would want it to be something like super simple.
Yeah, exactly. Click this link, and then all of a sudden, the only other thing they need to do is click video, possibly, and microphone, but you could probably get around that by saying, you're on. You know, you don't have to, yeah, you don't have to open up your mic or open up your camera. You're just ready to go.
Safety wise, they should have their cameras on, but
Yeah.
we actually did a cancer program. One of the cancer ones through Excel was, anyway, one person disappeared from a screen for a prolonged period of time, and we actually started to look up his emergency contact numbers and tried to find out and call
Right.
and email them, and because that's, I mean, it's just protocol, right? Where is he? What happened?
Right.
You don't know. So
Yeah.
that is, as a safety precaution for doing, and it could be one of the college questions this time around, right?
Mhm.
Safety
Yeah.
wise, do you know if you're in there teaching them on a Zoom and they're present, then a lot of the seniors classes, even I think they have two people doing it, a moderator and a leader now.
So for the organization I work for part-time, so we use like the Zoom for healthcare or whatever it is, which is the more expensive one, but the organization pays for it.
Right.
And that's what we do. So like one of the instructors is actually teaching, and then another instructor is acting as the co-host, and they're there watching everyone's screens, just
Oh.
wise to make sure everyone's, yeah, no one's fallen, that kind of thing. We also say at the start of every class, like we encourage everyone to have their cameras on.
Mhm.
And we say if for whatever reason you need to leave, that's okay, but you have to tell us so that we know nothing terrible happened.
Yeah, and that's the, he didn't tell us. It was kind of funny. And not funny, but I mean, it was a good trial run. Does it work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Reinforced it to everybody else that yes, we were panicking. Yes, we do.
Right.
This is what we are here for. It does work, and whatever else. So it's good to know.
How do you, is there a resource of softwares that are compliant, or do you just have to go research it on your own?
I tried to find it. I didn't find much.
Yeah, I didn't find much. Yeah, it's part of the reason why I wanted to do this, to say, does anyone else know something that I just can't find? Because I've been looking around, particularly for me, it's the group classes I'm concerned with. And, you know, for single practitioners, how reasonable is it to start stacking those costs up if you have, if you're using an exercise software, client management software, plus you need separate, let's say Zoom, for example, HIPAA compliant software. So your costs start to add up quite a bit. So you just have to make sure you have the client work to balance that, or an employer covers that for you, or you bill it back to the employer if you're a consultant. So you say, happy to work with your clients, but here's the monthly nut that you'll need to cover in order for me to provide these services to you. So it just goes on your invoice every month that this is the client management software fee, for example. And then you're disclosing, here are all the items that make up that client management fee, so that they're covering it and reimbursing you for it.
Yeah.
Another option.
I think that's why I'm still writing it on pieces of paper, and all I have is Embodiment, and I use Hep to Go, which is free for the exercises.
For exercises, yeah.
And
So
you can add your own to it too.
Yeah.
It's just funny because what I've been doing for the one-on-one virtual sessions, because I get so frustrated with the like have to go and stuff, because I'm very particular about how I want the exercise done. So I've been sending them videos, and now I realize, like, oh crap, I gotta hold on to these for the next 7 years. So now I'm just like, oh shoot, I gotta figure out like something else, some other system to keep track of.
You can upload your videos to Embodiment too, and use Embodiment.
I guess, yeah, because I've just been like uploading them to like a Google Drive and then sending them the link, because I'm not saying it's like, hey Susan, you know, here are the exercises. I keep it very like general. Then I'll just send them the link. But that was my other thing. It's just the problem is, and I was looking at that today, is if I send it, then it shows up as like my company, like my personal company email, and it doesn't show up as like the organization's email. So I imagine there's going to be some confusion. So I got to talk to them and figure all that out.
Right. I've been using Physiotech for years.
Yeah.
And for them, I can do the same thing where they have photographs of real people doing exercise, and then you can click on the image and it has one repetition. There's a video of where a client can see one repetition, which I really like. And then you can write your own descriptions in there and save your own descriptions. So you're never rewriting instructions over and over again. You make them fairly generic. And then they do have the ability to track your clients in there as well, which I like. So
You got a deal on that though, didn't you? You've been with them for a while and it's reasonably priced for you.
yeah, because I've been with them for a dog's age. Yeah, yeah, quite a long time. But I did ask my clients to look at HexFit for me, and I keep talking about this 91-year-old dynamo client that I have, and she was quite happy to go into HexFit, set up an account. She loved that she could just look for her own name and that she could see her exercise program. She could see our shared notes, and she could chat with me through their interface. Just she thought that was great. So I was surprised. And I said, listen, and I showed her, here's Physiotech, here's HexFit, here's Hep2Go. She was like, okay, I'll do my homework for you. She looked at all of them and she liked the HexFit because she could go in and noodle around in there herself, which I don't think there's a lot of 91-year-olds who could just go in and trial and error snoop about. So I thought she would like my printed Physiotech exercise programs or log in and see her own program, but there wasn't an opportunity for interaction with me. So she liked that she could talk with me in between her appointments and write in. There's some accountability, which I liked. She could write in what she was doing. So there wasn't any sort of texting or phone calling saying,
Yeah.
it's been 2 days, how's the new exercise going for you?
And
So
Embodiment has sort of those features, but
Yeah.
the people I see now, a lot of them have persistent pain, the ones I see through Embodiment.
Okay.
They have trouble with it. Either they're just not compliant and don't want to do it because it's a free program and they don't want to, they don't really get there. But
Right.
they don't see it. If they don't log in, I didn't see that questionnaire. I didn't see that exercise. I didn't, so I'm sure it's 50-50 because I always set myself up as a patient and through a different email and send myself the same things to try and figure it out for them. But
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, I try to just to see what they see as
It
a.
doesn't send them a triggering email. It doesn't say you've got a message or.
I think they do. Yeah, I think it does, but I don't know if that goes to their junk or if they just don't see it or if they're not interested or they really got to be invested and want it to go in and look for it. But I don't think Embodiment is as simple to use for the patient. That's
Right.
my impression because I've had a lot of people ask.
Okay. That's also really good to know.
And
So I guess if like HexFit had Zoom, I'm guessing it would check most of the boxes.
I think so. I think I like the photographs of the actual people versus the Physigraph line drawings of HexFit. So if I could marry the two, I think I'd be.
They're not real people pictures?
I don't think so, Christiane.
No, they're like drawn. At least when I did it, they were like, yeah.
I like people too.
Yeah. And they my clients like to be able to see the person do the exercise. They're like, can't you send the video? I'm like, haha, look at this. There is a video right in your exercise program. You're like, oh, that's so neat. So yeah, so that part of it's interesting, right? So they all don't quite fit, which is too bad. I think they're all getting there, but that usability, particularly for older adults, which seems to be a lot of us work with, quite elderly, quite disabled people. It's not the general fitness population. So it's that compatibility and usability is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So any other platforms that anyone's seen that we should check out that look pretty interesting? We've got Clinic Master, Jane App, Embodiment, HexFit, Physiotech. Health Locator is brand new. If you'd like to get listed on Health Locator for free, you get a web page that you can customize that helps you advertise your services there. And they also have a brand new calendar called Patiently, so that you and your clients can book appointments. People can find you on that platform and book an appointment with you, because you're able to list your hours and services on your own kind of a web page. So that's I think it's $10 a month to have that booking calendar. And then any client anywhere, they don't have to be your client. Anyone coming to that platform can book a session with you. And they actually have a dovetail with Stripe. So it's a payment platform as well, which is pretty interesting. So it's a patient management or client management platform that way, where people can find you and then book, which is kind of neat. And if anyone has other features that they like, let me know, because we meet every Friday and I can just say, hey, from our conversation, can you do this? Can you do that? So that's kind of fun. So I'll review this and say, there's still nothing that fits well enough to put it all together. But a lot of people do use that Hep2Go as well. I forgot that one. Yeah.
But the free version, you can't, I don't think they get video.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You can't email. You have to print a PDF to email it to them.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, Embodiment, you can upload video. I think I just had trouble doing that. It took forever.
Ah,
Could have been my Wi-Fi at the time or whatever.
right. Yeah, that's the other thing. You'd have to have pretty robust internet to be able to upload and download video on both sides. So yeah, that's true.
I have to head out. I have a time slot booked at the gym. I
Nice.
will
No,
see
you're
you
so
guys.
lucky.
I know. Yeah, they have very weird time slots. So it was either like now or 9 p.m. and I really don't want to work out that late. So
Oh,
I'm
great.
gonna head out now, but I'll see you
All right.
Monday.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Julian.
guys.
Bye. Enjoy your workout.
Yeah, we're back in red. We can't do anything here. We're back in gray.
Yeah, you guys just got locked down again.
We were open for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So did that change how you worked with your clients at all? No.
No, well, we were gonna try and run an in-person GLAD program, but
Oh, okay.
we might not be able. We might just do 2 people and hope we can.
Right. Right. So tricky. Unbelievably tricky.
Got a vaccine though. Carrie, can you get one at retirement home you're at?
Me? No.
Yeah.
So because I don't work for the retirement home, I just see clients who live there. So I don't get that communication. So
But
it was.
Can you ask them? Because that's how I got mine.
So in Waterloo region, they're now pre-registering for 80 plus years old and healthcare workers. So I'm pre-registered now. So hopefully I'll be getting it soon. But the vaccine, I didn't know anything about it for the homes that were getting it that I have clients in. And it was just like the day before, the client's daughter was like, hey, well, they're having the vaccine tomorrow and they don't want anybody to come in. So they want it to go really smoothly. So I didn't know about it until the day before, unfortunately. But
I got lucky and she called me the day of and said, they're coming today. If I have they had an extra dose.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe talk to I don't know what they're called in other homes, but like the manager, assistant manager, because I know that my student managed to get her vaccine just because we had an extra dose, and then they're just like, okay, who wants one? And then she's like, me. She was dying for it, so she was able to get it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. So, Christiane, you have yours as well?
Yeah, I got my Pfizer back in December.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, because I had LTC plus and a hotspot, so.
Right. Doubly lucky.
Okay.
do you work in a Schlegel home?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Everything you were saying, I'm like, that sounds like Schlegel. Yeah.
What do other homes call like their managers, assistant managers? I don't actually know.
Yeah, it's manager. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So things have been interesting. I was like so happy because we just got our like exercise room built, or like it was like starting in construction pre-COVID, and it's like now it's finally fixed. So we like put all the equipment in there. So like, yeah, slowly.
Wow, that's great. So it's a dedicated fitness room?
Yeah, and they actually expanded it. It used to be a bit smaller, and then right before COVID, they decided to make it bigger. So now we just have to figure out how to like share the space between like long-term care, retirement, and how we're gonna like porter people while in COVID. So there's a lot of logistics involved.
Wow, fun times. Yeah, I need to look into that for my in-laws, seeing how we can get them vaccinated. That's been apparently assigned to me, so I better. Did you look into, was it City of Waterloo that you looked at, Carrie?
Yeah, it's the Regional Waterloo Health, whatever it's called, health unit. Yeah.
Health
So
unit.
I just I've liked all of the, pages on Facebook, the like Waterloo region, just Waterloo region, and then the health unit and all of those things. So I'm like, I gotta keep on top of all this crap.
Hey, it's worthwhile if you can get yourself on the list.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm a little concerned because there was a line in the description of like who is eligible to pre-register, and they said with the healthcare that it's for community care workers, which like I work in the community, I do community care, but I don't work for a community care, like I don't work for the Lynn doing that kind of community care, and I work for myself, so I don't really have an employer who can write a letter saying yes, you see clients in the community. So I'm just going to be like printing off my registration. I'm going to have I don't know if I'm going to try and get one of the managers at one of the retirement homes to like write a letter and say, yeah, she comes in regularly. I don't know.
The retirement home might have also been given a link for other people, like for either essential caregivers. Like there was also a daughter that got the vaccine when I was there, same thing. So if I couldn't have got it that day, they had a link they were going to send me so that I could go to Barrie and get the vaccine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do know that all of the essential caregivers, like the family caregivers, they were offered it. So my grandfather lives in a retirement home, and the two of my aunt and uncle who are designated as his essential caregivers, they were offered to get the vaccination. Yeah.
You think the home would want you to have it, so they would find a way to help you get it.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering. So the one home that I go to the most often, they just had a new manager come in, so I don't really know him, where I knew the other one fairly well. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, that they just didn't think of me. I don't know. But I also get my COVID test done there every 2 weeks.
I just know that they're in and out of stock like so quick. Because like usually by the time, like when they tell us like how many like vaccines they're bringing, we already know that we have like way more people that are to be vaccinated than, so there's usually not a lot like spare at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what my thought was too. I'm like, I don't really want to take away a vaccination from someone who is a little bit more at risk than myself. So I was like, I don't really want to push it. I'd rather just, wait my turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happened too, though. And then they have to also get the 6th dose out of every vial to actually have that full. When they don't, then that's one more dose that they don't actually have to give to you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. They have to like pre-measure everything, and like, so that when they go up to the floor, it's like bam, bam, bam. Because there's also a very short shelf life. Like once we get it, it has to be given out by I think like 3-4 hours.
Okay, just so it doesn't warm up. Yeah, has to stay cold. Wow. So what version did you guys get?
Pardon?
What
Pfizer.
version did you get? Pfizer?
I think so. Yeah.
The staff, we got Pfizer, and then the residents got Moderna, just because we were able to go to the hospital to get Pfizer versus Moderna. You don't need the like crazy refrigeration, so we're able to get it to the Moderna to the residents.
Right.
Are those the only two that they're giving out right now in Canada? Like they're still waiting for approval for the Johnson Johnson and the whatever the other one is called.
Well, they just gave approval to, I think it was the AstraZeneca one. They just approved it, I think, yesterday or today.
In Canada, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be
It's not the
4
Johnson & Johnson one yet. I think Johnson & Johnson has been approved in the States, but not here.
I think you're right. Interesting.
When do they anticipate that everyone in Canada will have their first dose? Do they know? No idea. No
Be a
idea.
while.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking ahead to vacations to say,
Yeah.
should we plan it now? Should we plan it now? Who knows? Who knows? Well, thank you, everybody. The hour has once again flown by. It was great to chat about the different platforms that people were using to figure out about charting, figure out about exercise management software, and then also just review the status of the vaccine as well. So I will drop this recording in the group for us within a day or so. And then if you have any questions or any comments, just add them into the feed, and we can always have a bit of a discussion around the recordings as well. As people get a chance to watch it, it would be good to have some discussion in case there's other comments that kind of come out once you've had a chance to think through everything. Any questions or comments before we disappear for the week?
I has a question.
Sure.
What was the you mentioned I think it was
Locator?
what's that? No, it was like this is
Locator.
Is that what it's called? You were like, this is new, and if you sign up now, you'll get like a website. But what was that called?
Yeah, it's called healthlocator.ca. So you can get your, I think Christiane, you're on there. I noticed the other day.
I know I signed up, but then I got like an email back. It was like, sorry, it glitched. Like, we need to follow up. And then I kind of completely forgot about it until just now.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, you can get listed for free. And so anyone going to the site can look under kinesiologists and they can find you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're interested in working online,
it's a good place to have your information.
Yeah, it's a good place to have your information. And so they're going to be hitting every registered healthcare professional, and they're moving really fast. I didn't think they'd move as fast as they are, but they're in talks with a lot of the professions, and a lot of the professional associations will be uploading information to the Health Locator site. And so it should be pretty interesting to see who's there. So clinics can list all of their clinicians, and then you can list independently as well. And then you just create your own profile to say what kind of services you provide and what your ideal clients are as well, and then all your contact information. So you don't have to purchase anything. It's a free directory listing. Yeah.
I wonder, does that like, if you were to search like kinesiologist near me, would that like come up in a Google search?
Yep.
Cool.
Yes. So the group is also working with an SEO specialist so that you will have your profile optimized, because it helps them to get their company ranked higher if people can find you through them.
Nice.
So it will be, they'll pull out all the stops to make sure that you are optimized appropriately as you're listed there. Yeah, which is helpful because sometimes we're not able to do it as well on our own. So this way it kind of aggregates everything a little better.
Well, yeah, that's one of the hardest things, is to find clients if you don't already have an established like referral system.
Yeah, that's right. So any sort of platform exposure is a good idea. Yeah. So there's that one. And then the other one you may want to look into, depending upon the clients you'd like to work with. Wilkin is the other platform.
Wilkin? Can you like?
So it's WILLKIN. And so that's a Canadian platform. And the clients that Becky Zuko is the owner of that company. And so there are advocates, she calls them. So there's a group of about 20 kinesiologists right now across Canada who are seeing clients. And then there's a larger database that are waiting for clients. And then what Becky's doing is really looking to people suffering with chronic autoimmune diseases and chronic lung diseases. So she is looking to associations to help with referrals of those clients to the kinesiologists on that platform. And it's only kinesiologists.
Nice. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so you can be listed with her as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Any other questions, Katie?
I have a quick, well, I think it's a quick one. For those that have started teaching virtual sessions, did you add anything to like your consent policy forms specifically about virtual? I'm just kind of like, I want to start transitioning. I want to make sure I've got all my bases covered.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for you. On the Facebook page, there's an area that has forms in it.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize.
I think it's there, and there should be a couple of consent forms uploaded. If there isn't, let me know. I can upload our consent forms for you.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to find a virtual sample form there. You can doctor and use.
Okay. Perfect.
I think I copied a lot from Embody as well. Embody, I had one that
Okay.
you could borrow and edit and change it.
Okay.
Mhm. I would compare the two and just create your best version.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Easier answer than I thought.
Yeah, it was quick. Any other questions at all? Nope. Everybody's good. All right. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next Monday. Good night, everyone.
Thanks. Yeah.